Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us on Wednesday's check-in with D. Edward Cheney and Mr. Corey D. Moody. Even in the midst of our busy schedules and trying to bless people and working in the vineyards, God saw fit for me to stop, pull over, and invite you into our study for this evening. Again, every week, ladies and gentlemen, the financial series by Mr. Corey D. Moody has been amazing, phenomenal, outstanding. I don't know about you and who I'm talking to, but you need to share this to all of your social media platforms right now. We're so blessed to have you every week, and for those that join every week, thank you. But we do ask that you share it with people in your family, your friends, your frenemies, everybody, because all of us need to understand the financial perspective from biblical principles that are being provided. This energy, this study, the support by Mr. Moody, his preparation has been amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, we really need this. Also, I want to say that God is amazing, and please consider sowing into the Renaissance Fellowship. You can do that through Givelify, the Renaissance Fellowship, Las Vegas. Tap Give Done, and you will receive a receipt. But you can also do it through Cash App, $ the Renaissance LV. Cash App, the $ the Renaissance LV. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so excited. And before we begin, we just thank God for all that he continues to do. Let us begin with a word of prayer. And please type in the chat special prayer requests, financial needs, your blessing. The Bible says in Matthew, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all those things shall be added. Let us pray together before we go into our study. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you, but we need you right now in the midst of the study to bless, to heal, to restore, to pick us up. God, we just thank you for how you have blessed us financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, but overall mentally. God, we need you right now, and bless our facilitator, Mr. Corey D. Moody. Strengthen him in Jesus' name. deliver, set free the captives so that their finances can move to different levels, that we can be blessed as a family. Keep us close, oh God, and we give you praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce again tonight, as we do every week, Mr. Corey D. Moody, certified public accountant, certified valuation analyst.
Thank you. Thank you. Always good to be here. And I just smile every time I start this podcast because it just puts me in a good spot. And especially in the middle of the week where I may have already been working with finances and people in business and individuals, and especially at this time, this is tax time. Right now, everyone's getting ready for a tax season and getting ready to file their taxes. So there's a lot going on. So this is the time we kind of really start looking at our monies and wondering, hey, what can we do? What can we do better than maybe we did last year? And so what we're doing in January, we've been starting on kind of getting our budgets, our net worth statement together, and we kind of spoke about those, last year. This year, we're working actually on the forms that we gave out last year, and they're still available to you. And we're going to kind of go through those. Last week, we gave out a blank budget form and we gave out a blank net worth form. I have those two filled out this week, and I'm going to kind of walk you through these forms. You can get these forms, you can just email me. I'll be glad to send them over to you. Just make sure you put a financial series in the subject, so it doesn't go to my junk mail. I have that flag so I can receive it in my regular inbox. So please make sure you put a financial series in the subject anytime you send any correspondence or any questions that you may have. And again, I appreciate you for tuning in and listening. And again, you can always reach me at Facebook. You can reach me on Instagram. Also, my website for the financial series is on coreymoody.podbeam.com. You can catch all my podcasts on there also, and also live on Facebook on Wednesdays and on the weekends. So again, I want to thank you for tuning in. And today we're going to really just kind of work. I'm really going to talk about these forms that we have, and really talk about what they mean, what the numbers kind of talk about, and how to work them. And even if you don't have the forms that I have, and it really are just some Excel's spreadsheets that I use that I have, but there are so many apps that are out there now that you can set up your budget, you can set up your spending, you can set up your net worth statement, or your what we call in here your value statement. So there are so many tools that you can use. And I'm one of those person that believes we can have tools, but you still got to put the work in, and you got to understand what's going on with the tools that you have, how to use them. One of the things you learn in construction is you're a lot more productive and efficient when you have the proper tools and you also know how to use them. Training is so important. So I'm going to walk you through these forms, not so much how to fill them out. Filling them out, is pretty simple, but I want to kind of show you what these numbers mean, kind of after the fact. What does it mean, you know, um, with this number? How does this really work? How does it all kind of come together? And so that's what I kind of want to show you today. So we're going to work a little bit and kind of talking about these forms. So I'm going to kind of hop right into it. And, right now what should be showing is this net worth statement, and it's filled out right now. And, for those that are in business, or, you're familiar with business, this is like a balance sheet or a statement of financial condition. Or if you ever filled out a loan with the bank, they may tell you, you got to fill out a personal financial statement. That's what this is. So you understand banks are asking when you apply for a loan, even when you're mortgaging stuff, what you may not realize, and they may not call it that, is you're filling out a personal financial statement. Yes, you put your income, all your expenses. They want to know how much money you're making, and they run these ratios. And you may have heard you got a back end and a front end ratio to see if you qualify for a mortgage. But they also have you fill out all your assets, your liabilities, and you fill out what is your net worth. And you may have never picked up on it, but this is the exact same statement here. And I'm just kind of breaking it down. You got the blank ones last week. And again, you can get these forms any place. Again, and I have my email at the end of this podcast. I'd be glad to send it over to you, so you can see them. But you have your cash, your savings, stocks and bonds, unlisted securities. Unlisted security, right, in this scenario is, let's say, the value of your own personal business. So you say you have a business. This is the value of your business, and it's an unlisted security because you're not on a stock exchange. You're not what's called a public company, but there's still value in the company that you may have that you're running. That is part of your net worth. And you saw me, we talked earlier or last year about the majority of the wealth, 90% of the wealth that people have, these billionaires, these people about to be trillionaires real soon, the majority of their value is in their companies that they own. And a lot of them own a small piece, a minority piece of their company, like 5, 2, 3%. But those percentages are worth millions and billions of dollars. So to be able to capture that is very important for you to understand that is part of your value, you individually. We have intellectual property. I mean, we have automobiles and intellectual property. We've kind of talked about that quite a bit. Real estate and personal property. And a lot of times people think real estate, that's the biggest, value that we have in that net worth. And it's not. Actually, the value of a business is the biggest value. And I have a chart now, which I would have had, and if I have time to pull it up, I will. If anything, I'll have it next week to make sure I show that chart so you can see, that the majority of personal net worth is in. What happened to my? Uh, is in the value of personal holdings or your personal business that you run, that you own yourself. And a lot of times, and if you're in some of my business classes, one thing is I tell people to stop saying, well, I just have a small business. I just have a small business. No such thing. Yes, there are classifications that you can apply for loans and things that, they say this is a small business loan. People may use that terminology, but don't call yourself a small business because all businesses start from somewhere. And as long as you keep saying that word small, you're going to always think that nothing's applicable to you because it's a small business. And that's how we lose our value or lose, the inheritance because we think it's just a small business. And, what happens is a lot of times they just become what we call lifestyle business. Our business that we run, that we own. I've been in my own business my whole entire life, my adult life, and I want to pass that value down to the next generation, or I'm selling it to someone to keep that value or keep that legacy going on. I have some valuable intellectual property that I've created in my practice. It's not just about the number of clients, but the technology, the processes, and the systems that has value. And so the majority of the value in the world is in what we hold in our in personal companies, not real estate. But if you just add up all your assets, you come up with the total. So this person here that says has $1.2 million in assets. Well, just because you have $1 million in assets doesn't mean you're a millionaire. And they've kind of changed the definition of millionaire. It used to be you had to have $1 million in liquid assets or cash. Now they put it in net worth. So what you have to do, you have to subtract your liabilities. Your accounts payables, your credit cards, any judgments, any debt, loans that you may have, your mortgage, anything that you owe, what you pay out monthly, to a creditor or a debtor or a bank, monies that you owe, those are liabilities. And when you subtract your liabilities from your assets, you get your net worth. And this is what banks has been doing to us forever. And we only fill it out because it's a requirement to get a loan or whatever we're trying to do. But I want to show you tonight how to really use this tool to your advantage. And this 861, this is something we want to continuously increase. So right now, this person is worth $861,000. And I just got this as of the end of 2022, because the end of 2022 in December, this person's going to be worth over $1 million. And then the next year, maybe 1.3. And the next year, maybe 2 million. And you constantly want to see this number increase, this value. You want your net worth to continuously increase. And I'm going to kind of show you some things on, how do you do that? Okay, so now we're looking at a budget. And I know a lot of times we look at a budget as a whipping board. This is just beating us, can't spend, can't do this, can't, it's like can't. It's kind of like, you got folks telling, parents, no's a bad word. Don't tell your kids no. Okay, yeah, don't tell your kids no if you don't want to. You know what you're going to have on your hand. But anyway, but actually, no is actually the most powerful word now in business, because you got to know when to say no to back away from bad deals, bad transactions, time wasters. And if you never say no, you're constantly going to be saying yes to people. And on the other hand, I like when people tell me no when I'm going in to maybe provide a service for them, because I want to know why they saying no. What value am I not offering for them to say no? So, but that no is very powerful. But let's look at this budget. And so one of the things, so we still in January, we started, you know, uh, with $2,500, let's say January 1. And we've earned $9,000 so far in January. And let's just say we're on salary and we know we're going to make, we're going to bring in $9,000 a month. Now, this is also cash flow. Okay. So this is not, well, I make $100,000 salary, but you only take home 70,000. So when you fill out this budget, we're going to do actually cash that you bring in, not what's maybe on your W-2, because your W-2 is grossed up, which that's before they take out taxes and all these other things. So what we putting in for wages is this is actually cash that comes in. And this is what you want to do, yourself. You get your total income and then you have your total cash available. So your cash available, that's what you have or know what you're going to be spending for the month. Now you may get paid weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, monthly, everybody gets paid differently. but you kind of know what you're going to be earning every month. Even if you're a sales on commission, you say, "Well, I never know because I'm on commission." Well, take your average for the last 12 months and then say, "This is typically what I make." Even salespeople, they typically know they're gonna make X amount of dollars a year. Yeah, you get bonus and stuff, but you have a general idea. So, and if you are not sure, I will always tell you be conservative. But in saying that, now we're going to come down to our expenses. And you look at the expenses I have here on the left. The first one I have is tithe, because this should be the first thing we do is to pay our tithe. Okay. And right now I am just basing this on this cash number. And, you know, for W-2 owners, you are supposed to tithe on your gross, but that's a different story. But for these purposes, we're going to tithe just off of our wages, what we call in our cash. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's 10% of our wages. And also we make some, oh, you know what? This here, I may not make offerings of this amount every month. So I'm going to actually change that. I just realized this went every month. So my first fruits and offering, maybe in January, maybe, something every quarter, I may make an offering. So then here's my, rent, mortgage, or my food, electrical, gas, water. I put, golf, cable, eating out, all the type of things that I may have or may do. And these will be different for everyone. And you put in whatever you want to use for yourself. And one of the things I've always done is I print it out for the year and I kind of keep it somewhere. But as I pay my bills, I start highlighting what I've been paying to show that it's paid. So when I come in January, 90% of these may already be paid, or all of them may be paid. So all this will be highlighted because it's paid. So that helps you track to make sure you're paying everything. Now you see what the total expenses are every month. You can see what they are. And it's telling me what my cash available is. And that cash available at the end of the month is the same cash available I have at the beginning of the next month. And you can see by the end of the year, well, actually, and this cut off, I'm gonna have right at $10,000 if I stay within this budget. Now, this is where I'm going to hopefully shake you up a little bit and not think this is something to keep you in line to stop you from spending, but to show you how you can use this tool to really help you achieve your goals. And so we talked about goal setting at the beginning of the year. What are some of the goals you have? It's to, be debt free, or to pay, 30% of your debt down. And maybe that, getting debt free is a 3-year plan or a 2-year plan. And so let's say at the end of the year, I want to have $20,000 because I want to pay cash for a new car or something. Or I just want to have 20,000 away because I want to do something, whatever that number is. So when you're looking at the end here, you have a number. So what you can do now, not because it's a budget and somebody's telling you this is all you can spend and this is what you have. Let's play with this thing here and let's have this number over here. And what I'm going to do, let me see if I can pull up the actual spreadsheet for you. Just give me a minute if you don't mind. See if we can get this up, because I kind of want to play with this. I want you to see something, and then I think will really help us kind of get an understanding of how this works. See if I can find it. I should have had this up and ready, but it didn't. But just hang in with me, okay? We're gonna get there. All right, so I'm kind of trying to pull this up so we can play with these numbers here. So if at the end of the year I want to have 20,000, well, you can come in here and decide yourself, what do you need? What can you eliminate to reach this goal? So now you become the master or the person who's in control of your destiny. Not because an accountant or someone said, here's your budget, this is what you got to do. You determine, if I can maybe cut my lights off a little bit more, or put my utilities, you might want to buy a thermostat that has a clock that when you leave during the day, it shuts down, and maybe an hour before it cuts back on. Instead of during the day, it's going off and on, or you leave it off or leave it real cold. When you come home, it's cold. But even at night, when you start using technology to help monitor and help you with your finances, things like that makes a difference. You look at gas for your car. you know what am I, where am I going? Can I cut some of that down? Can I cut down eating out? Well, can I get healthy when my medical costs go down? And you may say, you know what, I owe $4,000 in credit cards. Well, maybe here, when I get to April, I'm gonna pay those off. Now I'll start having some more dollars left. Yes, you're gonna lose this 4,000 here, but you can make it up in some other areas that you choose to use. So you kind of become the master of your destiny by looking at these numbers. And you make the decision what you can live with, what you can live without. No one can do that. I got to make sure I'm sharing because I think I stopped. So I apologize. Um, you know, so when you look at these utilities here, how can I cut down on utilities? Be a little bit better of monitoring your utilities at home. And one of the things we always say, especially in business, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you pay for it. I know people who not very frugal at all. They say I can never pay more than $2 for a bottle of water. Just won't do it. I'm not saying whether you do it, but I'm saying is you create your own what's important to you. And you start looking at this and making these differences. Maybe you buy better insurance. Maybe you stop having late fees. Maybe, just repairs and maintenance. Some things we can't control, but if we take care of things a little bit better, does it change, what we have? I'm trying to pull so I apologize again. I don't have that up, but so you can play with these numbers and make these numbers come to whatever you want them to be. And it's up to you to decide what you can live without. No one else. And the better you are with it, the more sense it makes to you. And you can start reaching these goals just by you dealing with this. And maybe, in income, maybe I'll get a part-time job. So if I can get a part-time job making an extra $500 a month, and I just put that money up, that's an additional $6,000 I'll have at the end of the year. And maybe you don't have time. but you decide how you want to do that. And a lot of it is, what are the risks we are willing to take? And it's so funny. This is the end of the year or beginning of the year, and this is kind of audit season for me. And one of the things I do first, or auditors do on the front end, is plan the audit. And one of the things we do is assess the risk. What is the risk of there are material misstatements on these financials? Because as an auditor, we can't look at every transaction to make sure that they're correct. And last week we talked about assertions. We make different assertions based upon different classes of transactions. What has more risk than the other of the numbers being wrong? We assess these risks. And what risk do we assess in our personal lives as it relates to our finances? What risk are you willing to take? Not so much from an investment perspective, putting your money in the stock market or into real estate, saying these are my investments. I'm gonna put it just in a savings account because you heard I don't like taking a lot of risk. This risk is a little different. This is things that are done. What are the risks as an auditor? I'm willing to look at, and not look at every transaction, but look at a portion of it. And if I look at this portion, I know pretty sure that these numbers are right. So I'm assessing the risk on where I'm going to spend my hours. If I got 100 hours on this audit, that we say, hey, as a firm, we got 100 hours to finish this audit. We have to decide how we're going to divide those 100 hours up. Where are we going to spend that time? Where are our big risks? And you look at your budget or look at your numbers, your finance the same way. What are my risks? I used to get laughed at. I guess I still get laughed at, but anyway, about when things were getting tight, I turned off cable. I stop eating out. I mean, just so many things, because I saw the numbers started changing. Like, hold on, we got to cut this off, But that's how was able to get back off track. What are the things you're willing to cut out, to take away from your lifestyle, and it's just temporary? I talked about the water. What are you willing to pay for water or your utilities? You know, you know, turn the lights off. Turn the heat down when you're not there, or turn the air conditioning down. You know, I so what are you willing to give up? You say, man, I gotta have a cool house or a hot house. I'm willing to pay for that. And it's no problem. It's not no right or wrong. But when you start looking at your budget, you start making those decisions. See, you don't let the budget drive you, you drive the budget. You assume and deal with the risk. So, you know, identifying risk or where our overages are, they're not a bad thing, because it allows us and gives us time to design and plan and kind of confirm the elements that as it relates to what we're trying to accomplish, or the results of the risk, whether it's a low, medium, or high risk. And the more we can reduce the risk, the less quote unquote work we may have to do. The higher the risk, maybe the more work we have to do to verify or look just a little deeper. You always heard the term, trust, but confirm and verify. And that's what we have to do. So you can confirm and verify yourself. But you got to look at this. And I think a lot of times we just get so afraid. Here's the reality. You're going to have the money at the end of the month, whether you have this or not. At least if you have this and you have this to work with, you have this tool, you can make adjustments. You can start saying, I really don't need to eat out. Or, what I started doing, when I would go out, I never bought a drink, a soda. I just drink water. I mean, that's $2, $3 at a lot of restaurants. You say that's just $2 or $3. Well, if you eat out a lot, adds up. But that's just the water. You really gotta get is it the super size? That's another dollar something. So there are so many things you can do, but when you're looking at your life or your numbers in front of you, they start to talk to you a little differently. So I'm saying that you start feeling your numbers. You start feeling your life. What are you going to pass down? What is the inheritance that you're going to leave behind? One of the things that I see so much is a lot of people in business, when they're done, the owner, the person who started the company, when they go, the company goes. Yeah, somebody may come in, family may come in and try to run it, for a year, and they end up just shutting the doors. We talked about inheritance. That's important to build in value for the next generation and the next generation. And you show them how to use the budget, how to look at this net worth statement to keep building that value. So when you're looking at, this net worth statement, and you start teaching, hey, look, we're leaving this at 861,000. You got 20 years to build on this. When you gone, it should be worth 5 million. And you pass that down. But they don't know. We may not even know because we don't know what we're looking at. We just try to live the best we can. And I'm just saying, using these forms kind of just brings it in perspective. Not to beat you, but to teach us and to make us, more involved and understand that, what, I can make this happen. And whatever these numbers look like, it really shouldn't matter. We just have, we have to make it happen. So I do want to, as always, I have to read something to you. And what you say, I don't have to. Yeah, well, I'm going to. So anyway, but yeah, I'm going to read this. So this is Lamentations 5. And remember, Lord, what has happened to us? Look and see our disgrace. Our inheritance has been turned over to strangers, our homes to foreigners. We have become fatherless, or our mothers are widows. We must buy the water we drink, or wood can be had only at a price. Those who pursue us are at our heels. Creditors, right? We are weary and find no rest. We submitted to Egypt and Assyria to get enough bread. Now, there's one more piece, and I'm going to bring that up. Our ancestors sinned and are no more. That's when we talk about passing down that inheritance, and we bear their punishment. Because why does every generation have to start at zero? Slaves rule over us, and there is no one to free us. And there is no one to free us from their hands. We can't even get loose. We get our bread at the risk of our lives because of the sword in the desert. So this risk, what is the risk? We risk our lives. We're here on earth. What are we going to use to reduce that risk, to pass that inheritance down? And it's not that these tools that I have are the magic, because there's thousands of budget forms and net worth forms. This is nothing new under the sun. But I'm hoping that I'm showing you that if you use these, and not so much just to use them, but to understand how they can help, and not tell you what not to do, but tell you what you can do to reach your goals. And so, we're going to be closing out January. So when we come back next Wednesday, it's going to be February. Have you filled out a budget? Have you filled out a net worth statement? So when we get to December, you know where you are. Because we have to have something that's guiding us to let us know what we need to do. So, as we get ready to close this out, this is some things I left last week, and I'm leaving the same things kind of up, to read Leviticus 27. But also go back and read that Lamentation. And what are the risks we're willing to take? Can we reduce the risk from high to low? Well, how we do that are to use the tools that are in front of us. Just use these. Not for no one to beat you up or tell you what you can't do, but these are the things you need to do to reach the goals. Athletes always set goals, what they want to do, which is like a budget from a physical perspective. I got to do so many push-ups and laps and, go to the weight room. I got to do all these things to achieve these goals. Well, budgets in this net worth statement is the same thing. It's just not for numbers. But now we have this tool that can lead us and help us kind of get to where we want to get financially. And spiritually, it helps us. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Again, we're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to put a special thanks to the Renaissance Fellowship and D. Edward Cheney. I want to thank him for allowing me to use this Wednesday check-in to do this financial forum. And I hope this is really helping you get through some financial, maybe strongholds. We just, have problems. And we all struggle. It doesn't matter how much to say no when it's just not the best move right now. But check me out at CoreyMoody.podbean.com. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Instagram. I'm going to show you this. You can always send me an email at CoreyMoody@MoodyBennettCPA.com. And just let me know, how I can help you. And believe it, when you ask questions, it helps me also. Because you never stop learning. But make sure you put a financial series in the subject so it doesn't go to my junk. And I'll be glad to help and assist you in any of these forums and the forums you'll be seeing in the future. And I want to thank you for tuning in. And, Pastor Cheney just, is putting us on and allowing me to do this. And I hope it's helping. I want to thank those who do respond and send things in. But I promise you, if you use it, and I made these promise early in January, if you just work with these forms, I promise you, you will be in a better place December 31st, 2022. So again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you, and have a blessed day.